Despite concerns about domestic abuse in the National Football League, most fans admit on Sunday they'll be on their couches in front of their TVs watching the league. As the Ebola virus continues to spread, Quinnipiac says it will follow the CDC's guidelines if any student or faculty member shows signs or symptoms of the dangerous disease. Thanks, hosts. The men's ice hockey team had a successful doubleheader this weekend at the High Point Solutions Arena. Now that is a huge pumpkin.
It's a lot of pie.
I'm starving.
I'm ready to bake.
That'd be great. Now, in the first year of the MAC last season, the men's soccer team took home the conference championship. Flash forward to year 2, and the Bobcats continue to thrive, finishing the season in first place. But will they repeat? Hello, hockey fans. I'm Joe Cioffi, and here's a QU Sports Stanley Cup preview. Let's act like Degeneration X. Break it down. How do the Rangers win this series? It all starts in net for the Blue Shirts. King Henrik Lundqvist has led the way for the Rangers, who have won 7 of their last 9 contests. Lundqvist has allowed a staggering 2.03 goals per game and has almost a 93% save percentage. If Lundqvist continues to play like this, the Rangers could take some games and maybe even steal the Stanley Cup from the Kings. Now, their biggest question mark, will they be able to generate enough offense against Jonathan Quick? The Rangers' offense has averaged 2.7 goals a game, which is 8th overall amongst playoff teams. Their power play ranks at 10th with a 13.6 conversion rate. Both of these numbers will need to improve to bring the Cup back to New York. Now for Los Angeles, what do they need to do to win here? For them to win the series, they need to make life miserable for Lundqvist. Get bodies to the net, screen them, bump them, anything it takes here. The Kings have been leading playoff teams with nearly 3.5 goals a game and have a distinct advantage up the middle with Anze Kopitar, Jared Stahl, and Mike Richards, not to mention ex-Ranger left winger Marian Gaborik, who has 12 goals this playoffs. Now, what can go wrong for LA? Fatigue. They just finished a grueling 7-game series against the Blackhawks. They've gone to Game 7 in every one of their series thus far. Head coach Darryl Sutter needs to ensure this team's gaslight does not come on now. He needs to roll 4 lines, 3 defensive pairings, and not over-rely on his top stars. The Kings have great depth, and Coach Sutter's rely on that to try to win this series. So how does it all break down here? My mind tells me Kings in 6 or 7, but as a native New Yorker and a Rangers fan, my heart tells me Rangers in 7. Either way, I think we're in for a terrific series. It should be a lot of fun to watch. Thanks for tuning in, sports fans. Till next time, I'm Joe Cioffi. Enjoy the Stanley Cup. As the calendar closes on September, baseball fans can begin to prepare for the playoffs, as most teams have already punched their ticket for the postseason. Last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Detroit Tigers clinched playoff berths. With a handful of games left in the regular season, the stage is all but set. In the American League, the Baltimore Orioles, Tigers, and Los Angeles Angels have all won their respective divisions, while the Kansas City Royals will battle the Oakland Athletics in the wildcard game. In the National League, the Washington Nationals and Los Angeles Dodgers have both won their divisions. However, the St. Louis Cardinals and Pirates are still battling for the National League Central crown. The loser will face the San Francisco Giants in the wildcard matchup. Moving from the field to the ice, the ECAC men's ice hockey preseason polls and women's hockey national polls were revealed this week. The men were ranked in 5th place by the ECAC coaches polls, with forward Matt Pekka being placed on the coaches' preseason team list. In the ECAC media poll, the Bobcats move up to 3rd place, with forward Sam Ennis being named to the media preseason squad. The women's appeared on 2 rankings, the USCHO.com preseason poll, as well as the USA Today preseason poll, appearing in 10th place on both lists. Speaking of women's ice hockey, they had the first exhibition game of the season last Saturday, defeating the Chinese national team by a score of 8-0. Junior Nicole Connery netted 2 goals, while freshman forward Taylor Cianfrano had 1 goal and 2 assists in her Bobcat debut. Also on Saturday, the men's soccer team played, hosting Columbia University. Let's take a look at the action. In the 58th minute, Max Rothenbucher scores on a wonderful kick, almost saved by Kyle Jackson, but squirts in behind him, and that gave the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. Now we'll move ahead to the 64th minute. Antonio Matazzaro of Columbia has a corner kick that's blocked by Shaquille Huggins from Quinnipiac. Now the referee tries to get the game back under control here. Columbia's Bruce Tyrell is taken down by John Diaz, and because of that, a little shoving, a little pushing, but a free kick ensues. Francisco Agreste takes the free kick, and an easy save is made by Borja and Goita of Quinnipiac. Now the free kick by Quinnipiac bounces up in the air onto the foot of James Greco, who fires it home, giving Quinnipiac a 2-0 lead. Now Columbia would try to get back in this game. They see the free kick coming up, and it's a beautiful defensive play by Nick Lacewitz, and a second wonderful play by Lacewitz coming up as he clears the ball away and from the front of the net. The Bobcats would win the game 2-0. That's all for sports this week, and in Steph, Back to you.
From every standpoint imaginable, they have failed on so many levels with this one.
Definitely a tough situation for Roger Goodell. I mean, you have to. If I was in his position, I definitely wouldn't be able to handle it.
The "it" being referred to is the outbreak of domestic abuse incidents that have been associated with top National Football League players such as Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, and Greg Hardy.
If you look at the structure of the game, you have to be an aggressive person to play the game, so it shouldn't surprise anybody if that aggression is carried off outside the lines of the field.
Experts agree. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and his lenient response is also part of the problem.
Roger Goodell, if he maintains his job, is nothing short of a magician.
Roger Goodell is not prepared for this sort of situation.
This is the most egregious mishandling of a public, scandal that, we've seen by a sports, organization in a couple of years.
He may fall on his sword for the good of the league.
Despite concerns about domestic abuse in the National Football League, most fans admit on Sunday they'll be on their couches in front of their TVs watching the league.
Football is America's religion.
We are just so in love with football. On Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m., where will I be? And like most Americans, regardless of what happened, we're all still sitting in front of the tube.
It doesn't change my stance on it. I'm still going to support the NFL and watch football games every weekend.
It's just the nature of the country. It's not a cultural commentary against America at all. It's just Americans love football.
Though viewership may remain the same, Hanley wants to make sure people do not lose sight of what's really important in these matters.
You have a victim who's not part of the league. You have a victim in this case, and it's incumbent upon institutions everywhere to protect victims at all costs.
Joe Cioffi, QNN. The Alliance for Safe Kids held their 4th annual Save a Life event in Yorktown Heights, New York on Saturday morning. The organization, founded in 2002, has stepped up to the task of making a change in the community.
The term of it takes a village. It really does. And so it's nice. We're very connected to the schools, but we realize that this is a community responsibility and not just a school responsibility.
There are many informative and interactive activities for the people in attendance to participate in. They included lessons in tire changing, educational films, and the ever-popular drunk driving simulator.
Things that you'd see or you expect to see from a drunk driver: swerving, missing lights, rear-ending other vehicles, all happen in our simulator, but the operators are in a safe and sober perspective, so it does a very accurate job of representing the dangers.
Another one of the activities was a group-led discussion by Yorktown Police Detective Brian Shanahan.
Community education, where we do programs such as this, where we meet with parents, we meet with students and other community members, and just lay out all the facts and say, look, we got to work this whole thing as a team to combat this drug issue.
Drug and alcohol abuse exists in almost every community across the country. With the knowledge obtained from events such as today, you can help prevent tragedies such as this one from entering your life. Reporting from Yorktown Heights, Joe Cioffi, QU News.